Welcome back to the Riders Report. We hope you're enjoying Winter Bash 2, which launched yesterday, but today we're discussing a big question posted by Flair over in our Discord.
Hey, bud.
Hey.
You still here?
Yeah, I thought I was staying forever.
Well, you do have a studio back at your place, and I kind of only have one camera.
Yeah, I'm also allergic to cats here, so I should get going.
Yeah. I'll see you in a bit.
Okay.
Like Mitch was just saying, we have a wonderful topic submitted by Flair this week. If Steep was the sequel to Riders Republic, what would we think about it? Stick around for that main topic coming up in just a second. Mitch, you ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's hit it. Welcome back to the Riders Report. Today's episode is brought to you by our YouTube members. Thank you as always to executive producers Bonecrusher2D and Coach34, along with co-producers It's the Mort and Mitch's mom, and our fans and Fans Plus. If you'd like to become a member and help support the channel, hit join down below for cool perks like early access to the shows, emojis and badges, exclusive Discord roles, members-only content, sneak peeks, and more.
Winter Bash 2 dropped yesterday, February 8th, and if you want to know what was involved, check out last week's episode where we did a deep dive on the community roadmap posted over on Reddit. We also record these on Mondays, so we haven't got a chance to play it yet, so we'll give you our thoughts next week on everything that was included. Congratulations to everyone who won over on the Riders Republic Twitter Best Trick competition. They got some cool prizes and some shout outs on the socials. If you want to see our Best Trick competition, we're starting it this week, Saturday, February 12th at 12 p.m. Eastern. We'll be going live on YouTube, watching all 40 submissions. From there, we will be judging the videos and picking a top 10 to return for the finals.
Well, way back on January 27th, Flair submitted a topic to the topic suggestion channel over on our Discord server. The question really stumped both of us, and we had to take a few weeks to gather our thoughts. But it is golden, so let's get to it. If Steep was the sequel to Riders Republic instead, what would we think about it? How would we feel if Riders was the first game in this series and Steep was the second game that we received from the studio? This is a huge, massive, loaded question. We have to set some ground rules, though, before we get into this, because obviously Steep has been out for four plus years. They've had some time to release some DLC and to tweak some things. So we need to figure out how we are looking at Steep compared to Riders Republic.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to answer. So first, we'll probably just not discuss too many things like the bikes, because if we're thinking of Steep coming out second and just not having the most played sport in the previous game as like the sequel, it's like that's probably like a big glaring issue. So we're not going to talk about that kind of detail. And the other part of this discussion is we're not going too deep into the DLCs and what was added to Steep after launch, because right now Riders Republic is in that stage where we're just months after it released. They have a roadmap for year one. They are hopefully looking forward to year two and have a lot of features they want to add. When Steep came out, we didn't have grinding. We didn't have too many alternate camera angles. We didn't have a multiplayer mode, like competitive mode. The actual multiplayer to ride with your friends barely worked. So there's a lot of things that were added later that make us kind of love that game a lot more than when it first came out. So it's something that we can't say. If Steep came out second with the replay mode, of course it's better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. No, you're exactly right. So that's, we're kind of dancing on this weird hypothetical question here. This is a fun thought exercise.
Yeah.
This is not tried and true. This is the law. But once Riders hits that benchmark of 4 years or however long it was before Steep, gave way to Riders. I feel like we should do a post-mortem. You called it a post-mortem before the show, just recapping both games in their full forms. So this will be a continued question way down the road, maybe outside of those 100 guaranteed first episodes of the Riders Report. But without further ado, let's get into this. So again, if Steep was the sequel to Riders Republic, what would we think about it? Right out of the bat, Steep is a much more isolated game.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the multiplayer features, which still to this day aren't very reliable. But I think that's just the engine's fault. That's not the code's fault. But it's a much more isolated game. The game is talking to the mountain stories, the ambient noise. You're not seeing, 60 players in your lobby at all times. You're not seeing the AI that are just sending it every which way. It is less hectic. It is much more toned down. And just based on that alone, I don't know if I would get into Steep as much. Because if Steep was coming after Riders, you would be expecting the bright colors, the arcade, the compatibility, all of that. And it's just the gameplay itself is much more isolated. The map is more open world, natural open world than prefab like you find in Riders.
Mm-hmm. And I'd be wondering who made it almost, because Riders Republic is very much a Ubisoft game and just has all of their flavor like baked throughout it. It's a Ubisoft game. If you play any one of their other games, you could tell. And with Steep, it's much more of an indie game that just had a slightly bigger budget and a slightly bigger team. But it does just have that feeling of we're making a small game about the mountains and about skiing, snowboarding, wingsuiting, and whatever the fourth sport was whenever it was first added. Blanking right now, but
sledding.
No. Was it? No. But it's a small game. Like there's stuff to do, but there's not a lot of where are all the challenges? Like Riders Republic has a lot more going on, I'd say, in the world.
Right.
And so it would be like a step in a completely different direction.
Yeah. And there wasn't, I felt, I trying to think back, and this was what has taken me so long to come up with an answer here, trying to think back that long, right at the start of college, so much was going on in both of our lives, trying to figure out this game on top of that and recalling how this game felt was a bit of a challenge. But as far as I could recall, I don't think I grinded Steep super duper hard. Like the story really didn't pull me along like Riders has. It feels like there's more incentive to complete the challenges and to get everything complete on the Riders Republic map versus Steep, because Steep was kind of just like, hey, on your own time, come and figure out what we're doing over on this hill, and whenever. It's cool. We'll be here.
Yeah, I like the challenges in Riders Republic, and I like the star challenges where they are different things to do in the race. It's not the gold, silver, bronze that we had in Steep where you're just beating a certain time or beating a certain score. There are other things like don't backtrack, don't ever touch the brakes, pull off a backflip, jump over this ramp, like hit the director cam. The camera button thing. There's different things to do in each of the challenges that give them more flavor and more replayability once you beat it, because now I have to go back and try to do the whole thing on a funky bike to fully beat it. So I like the challenges a lot more, and the sponsor system too. I feel like does give you some more incentive, because if you want some of the Jones gear, you have to actually, just do some different challenges throughout the day. And it's not a specific challenge on the mountain in Steep where you had to complete this race to unlock this set of skis so you could then buy it. In the sponsors, it's just do some random stuff around the map, and eventually you hit a certain level and you can get some cool gear.
Right. Now, on those same lines, there's a lot more incentive. There are a lot more, the details of Riders Republic are just there. Right. It's much more detailed. There's a ton more things to keep track of and to do to get the most out of the game. But that has to be translated visually in the game, right? They have to make the menu screens and the UI functional to make sure that you can digest all of that information in the easiest, most streamlined way possible, which, if you recall the Steep UI, it was the entire opposite. They created a wonderful world with wonderful trick physics, wonderful snow physics, and they kind of just put post-it notes all over as the UI. It was clunky, it was slow, that awful target cursor that just it was so rough. The last thing that I wanted to do in Steep was to have to get into the shop or have to team up with Mitch, for a multiplayer session, just because traveling around that UI, that menu screen was miserable.
And they completely rehauled it at some point, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I
and
think
it was
around the
still
Olympics,
bad.
yeah, they had to do something. But I'm just thinking to when you wanted to change an outfit, it was cool that you had different people to switch to, like Mason and Sam, so you could have different outfits saved for each sport for each rider. But it was so confusing to try and explain that to someone, or to try and change a piece of gear. You're going back in, then picking the right character and picking the right sport.
It was a game all on its own, like, to learn how to complete the UI and get what you needed successfully. Oh, it was such a hassle.
It was definitely built just exploring first, and everything else started to get added on to turn it into more of a normal video game. It did do a couple things way better, in my opinion, though, when it was first came out. I think the biggest one, I really kind of missed the old line system, where when you went down, you could stop and go to the mountain view, see the line that you just did, pick a certain spot on there, drop the replay. And this is not just about the replay. It was the fact that you could see that line on the mountain, and you could create a challenge instantly to share with your friends, and just like create like, oh, I did a quick time thing here, or I hit this one big air jump and pulled off a cool trick, or did a little bit of a line, like a little freestyle park, and I want to just challenge my friends. And I enjoyed playing those challenges a lot more than the custom made challenges in Riders Republic right now. I haven't even touched them outside of the sponsor system. And it was much cooler to be on Reddit and see Nate Hotshot created a challenge, add me as a friend, and then it would show up on my map, and you could kind of set the record. And you could also do that with your friends too. Like, just in a session, we could hit a jump and be like, right now we're starting a challenge here, and then whoever's in your party is challenged to get the best score.
And to that effect, you said going on Reddit and finding one of Nate's lines, or at the time he was a stranger, now he's a friend of the show, all that. But at the time, it felt more grassroots, trying to find that community. And I think that's why the Steep folks have stuck around for so long and are still here, is because the way that you had to share information of that game was so, it almost, at this day, it feels old school. I don't know if you remember playing PS2 or, different games like that, and you would get the Game Informer with all the cheat codes in there. Once a year, they'd release the cheat code book, and you would pass that book around between all of your friends, and you would sit there for a night, and just with a notebook, you're writing all of these cheat codes so you can pass the book off because it had to go to Timmy's house tomorrow. That's kind of what Steep felt like to some extent for those lines. You had to find these people, you had to interact, face to face, where I like what Riders is trying to do with the social media, the lab, and trying to figure all of that out with the UGC, but it kind of feels like social media, like you're just looking and that's just a name that's attached to that sport. And again, maybe that's just the sign of the times as well. It's not 2016, it's not 2015 anymore, and social media has progressed as well. But I don't know, that is a big feature for me. I couldn't tell you off the bat a big, other than what's his name, Old Potato or Lumpy Potato, that Steep's
Old
been
Potato.
playing with. Old Potato, Lumpy Potato.
Yeah, jeez.
But it's folks like that, but it's because he's featured within the community. So that's like the first big name that I've really seen, and maybe like Abouts, because he's been popping up around the game lately. But
yeah, the other big one too that I think people would notice a big change is the way you can pick outfits and skis in Steep, and you can really kind of match the custom colors and just design the kit that you want to wear. I do think that I like Riders Republic's progression idea. I think it should have just been a straight RPG where you can put, as you level up your bike career, you can put more points into your character's ability to spin or your character's ability to go faster. The tying it to gear and not being able to apply different colors to it or looks is just so weird that if Steep came out second, I'd be like, this makes sense. That no one really liked that old system, and they just got rid of it. Like, so I think that's one where Steep would have succeeded too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just do want to put an asterisk on that. We didn't have, I mean, the Steep shop now is dense. I mean, it's thick. It was not that way around release. I mean, for the first year or two, a lot of those outfits started coming in towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big draw for the Steep community near the end when DLCs kind of I think it was after the Extreme Pack was when I felt like it really started to pick up in the store, because that was the easiest way to keep people in the game. Keep earning, keep buying, keep earning, keep buying. Just stay here. And the real diehards stuck there, and they have 3 walk-in closets worth of Steep uniforms now. But yeah, I know what you're saying there, and that would definitely have been oh yeah, this makes total sense. Look how wonderful this store is.
Yeah.
After the initial redesign, after all of those things have been loaded into the store, the Steep store blows it out of the water. Real quick, just to wrap it up. I mean, if it was the sequel to Riders Republic, if Steep was the sequel, do you think you'd buy it?
I would buy it, but I'm not.
Okay, do you think that you would enjoy it as much as you did the first time around? Do you think it would be a one of your most replayed games? Would you be grinding Steep? That's a better way to put it. Because for me, it's no.
It's tough. If Riders Republic came out first, I probably wouldn't play Steep as much.
Yeah.
And outside, unless the replay editor is in there, that's the biggest thing for us. Then that's, if Riders Republic doesn't ever get a replay editor, and then re-answer this question again, my answer would be absolutely, because it's a winter sports game with a replay editor. But everything else based on it, I don't think so. I'd play it, but not as much. If it was the game that Steep was at launch, I'd probably still kind of go back to Riders Republic just for the more options that there are, and easier to play with people. And it wouldn't do as well. I don't know if that's part of the question, but Riders Republic, I have way more of my friends that would never touch Steep at least play Riders Republic when I'm playing it. And they bought it and said, you're having fun with it, and I wanted to see it. And they have fun blasting around on the rocket wings or riding around on the bike, not knowing what they're doing. They're not sports fans. It's more attractive to a general audience. Steep is that very targeted audience that we're a part of that would still be playing it and would enjoy it more. But then all the kids would be like, no, this is boring.
Right. Yeah. And, we're looking at Riders Republic every time we speak about this game. We are looking at it through a lens, like you said, of Steep players. We know what this studio can do. We know what these devs are capable of, and they're not performing in the new game. It's just the overarching complaint of everyone that's complaining. We miss Steep. Blah, da, 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 da. But if it was flipped, and we didn't have that Steep, that organic growth or whatever, and you were just used to this clickbaity, almost Las Vegas energy that it has, where everywhere you look, there are bright colors, there's something to do, it's wonderful, it's picture worthy. Then you move into Steep and you're in the ice fields, and you're like, dude, this game sucks. There's nothing to do.
Going on, right?
Just massive icebergs everywhere. Like, I get that. And I really don't think that Steep would even get off the ground. It would be $1 game on the PlayStation Store. It would be $1 game in the Epic Store after the launch window closed, just because it couldn't pull the audience that it initially did. Because they got in on this when no one else was doing this. Now we have Shredders. Now we have another game that we're going to learn about here coming up in Riders Roundup. There are a bunch of different games to fit this extreme sport market now. Tony Hawk Pro Skater was not... it was in that window where they weren't putting anything else out. So the niche of extreme sport video games has progressed to the point where I think Steep would be lost in the dust if Riders came out first.
It would be. It would be on the same level as Shredders and some of the other ones and Descenders. That's why it's like how I kind of started. Steep is an indie game that managed to get made by a Ubisoft studio, but it wasn't an easy road to get to them to make that game. It was up and down and was more of a tech demo at the start when they came up with the idea. And they said, look, we made this demo. We can do this. And Yubi's like, sure, fine, whatever. You've done enough for us. Like, have fun making your game and also do a lot of other work for us in the meantime. And then they realized, oh, we could add our Ubisoft touch to this and make it a big game for everyone. So I just don't think it would be made. It's, but we'd still be playing it. There'd be a small group of people.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, 100%. Dude, Flare, what an incredible submitted question. If you have something that will get us to talk this long again, this goes for anyone, please jump over to our Discord and submit it to the topic suggestion channel. Now, let's head over to Riders Roundup. Let's see if anyone has found Thunder TRP's location, and let's learn about a new game called Lonely Mountains. Well, we are back once again, and it looks like no one has found Thunder TRP's secret spot this week. Take a look at it again. And Mitch, I think we both have a rough idea of where we think it is. But disclaimer, we could both be completely wrong. So I think we want to give you a hint, but we could just be leading you on a crazy goose chase.
I believe this spot is on one of the mass racetracks or very close to one of the mass racetracks.
Okay.
And we were looking at it during the Easter egg hunt thing. So take that with a big old grain of salt. There's just something that kind of looks like that. If you do find it, you can message either one of us on Discord. And if you're the first one, you get to pick next spot for this scavenger hunt.
Happy hunting.
Yeah. We also did get a self-promo submission from Thunder TRP, though, so he gets to shine once again, showing us a clip from a game we haven't talked about before, Lonely Mountains Downhill. Believe this is only on Xbox, or was an Xbox exclusive as an indie, and now it's on Game Pass, and I think you can get it on Steam as well. But it's just a downhill mountain bike. I believe, I remember when this was posted on Reddit, too. It was made by, like, one guy.
Oh, really?
Might be wrong, but there is a game kind of like that. It just looks cool. It's like almost like a mobile game type vibe where it's just a far out camera and you're going back and forth down a rocky mountain trail.
Yeah, it looks like some tricky physics in there too. You get a lot of tail slide on this bike. And I said that this was a new game. It came out in 2019, so don't listen to me. But if you're looking for something else to scratch that mountain bike itch, Lonely Mountains might be for you.
Yeah.
We also have a submission again from Abouts TM. This is the third installation of their Best Tricks series. It's a 3-minute video in the mountains of Riders Republic. Go check that one out, pulling out all of the quality moves that you know and love from About.
We got another clip too. I think we have shown Benny before on the channel as well.
Oh yeah.
And he put out another tech video while he's on a camping trip. And I love how he started this. He's sitting down by one of the tents and then pops up onto the bike and just pulls off some insanely technical stunts on the bike. Again, can't wait to see what this kid can pull off in some competitions and editing challenges in the future because his tricks are insane.
I kind of want to pull this video, all of these like tech videos out that Benny's doing, and just put that Michael Scott audio clip, parkour, because I know that it's not technically called parkour when you're on a bike, but that's what this feels like, especially going through all of these, like the campers and, the tables and all that. It just fit parkour. Wonderful job, Benny. Rounding out the pack today, talk about steep. Someone was missing the director mode. If you have yet to see what we're talking about with steep director mode, you can look no further than Flare submitting another one, an Alaska free ride line. And Mitch, you were saying that this is very similar to like a Check My Steez, unbroken line challenge.
Mm-hmm. He's just hitting one straight line down the mountain and a nice little punched out camera so you can see some of the scenery and the riding. And these videos were always so relaxing to watch. So I miss things like this. And if you want to make more in steep, by all means, we'll be sharing them because we love watching this kind of thing. And just makes me hopeful for seeing more like this in the beautiful landscape of riders in the future.
Those are the Armadas, right?
Ooh, I believe so.
I miss those skis so much.
Yeah.
I miss seeing those. Bring those to Riders Republic, please. That's my last request. Like, just bring those specific armadas back to, it's like a steep special. Thank you so much for tuning in for episode 15 of the Riders Report. We said it at the top. We will say it again. Special thank you goes out to all of our YouTube members, especially executive producers Bone Crusher 2D and Coach 34, along with co-producers It's the Mort and Mitch's mom, and not to forget our fans and Fans Plus.
If you'd like to become a member, you can hit that join button right down below and get some of the cool perks. You'll get early access to these videos. You get special shoutouts, emojis, badges, a members only video a month, which this month it is us playing through a song for the very first time together. Yep. And it's on guitar, me on guitar and Nick on drums. And it's not the greatest playthrough, so you guys will get a nice special treat of seeing us try to throw down a song in one take.
Don't worry, the audio quality is trash. We set up no microphones. We recorded it on a Pixel 2 XL. It's beautiful. It's fun. And honestly, it's pretty decent audio for a garage band style video. But we had like 40 minutes to sit down together this past weekend. We had to bang out a couple videos, bang out a couple of tracks. We recorded the intro. We recorded 1 or 2 songs, one of which you will be seeing as a members only. The other one may be making a special appearance in an upcoming video. So stick around for that. Make sure, even if you don't become a member, you hit subscribe to stay up to date on all the videos that are coming out so you can catch that special recording. It's actually halfway decent. You can also check us out over on social medias, Instagram, Twitter, and our Discord server. Everything is linked down below. Come and join the party after the party ends. And we'll see you guys. That's
Saturday.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We will see you Saturday for another live event. Make sure you grab some popcorn at the store this weekend, an adult beverage, maybe. And we will see you guys at 12 p.m. Eastern Saturday for the all tricks runs for the first Riders Republic TFG event officially. Can't wait. We will see you back for another episode of the Riders Report. Same place, same time next week. But until then, I'm Nick.
And I'm Mitch.
And we'll see you on the slopes.